On today's episode of Chicago Bears Now, ESPN released a 3-round NFL mock draft where Mel Kiper and Todd McShay alternated picks. They do this every year, so we're going to go through it and find out which selections they made for Chicago. Obviously, the Bears have 4 picks in the top 3 rounds, number 9 overall, 53 overall, 61 overall, and then also 64 overall. This mock didn't have any trades, so it'll just be those first 4 picks that we focus on in Kiper and McShay's alternating mock draft. All right, let's jump into it here. ESPN's 3-round mock. Peter Skoronski, the offensive lineman out of Northwestern, with the number 9 overall pick. This has been a pretty common one, obviously. We've talked about him a lot. Here's Mel Kiper with this selection of Skoronski. He says, I've gone back and forth on which offensive lineman the Bears will take here, but Skoronski is the best on my board, number 8 overall, even though I like him a little bit more as a guard. Chicago needs a right tackle, which is why I projected Darnell Wright here in my 2-round mock. I'd be confident in Skoronski's ability to learn the position. And that's really the question, right? Is he in play at number 9? Because how do the Bears view Skoronski? It's hard to know. I like Skoronski a lot. I think he's one of the best pure players in this draft, but I don't believe Ryan Poles will take him at number 9. We know Poles is a big, measurable guy. He's got 32.25-inch arms. Historically, that's not a tackle in the NFL. There's been a few guys that have broken that mold, but it's just harder because you need that reach to, kind of jab those speed rushers off the edge. I could see him being a trade-down option. If you trade down a few spots and he's still there, then you take him. But I just tackle's a bigger need than guard, and the Bears might view him as a guard. So I don't know if they will do that. On the flip side, we know Ryan Poles is a big board guy. If he's the best player available, then there is obviously a good chance he would take him. My gut is telling me that he will not take Skoronski at number 9. You look at how he performed last year. Gave up just 1 sack. His PFF run grade was good. He's good in pass pro. I mean, he's a technician. Like, Peter Skoronski is a damn good player. I just worry about the arms, and I know how Ryan Poles views tackles. He loved Braxton Jones as a sleeper in day 3 because he had 36-inch arms. Now, they don't have to be that long, but 32.25, 33 is typically the minimum threshold for a tackle in the NFL. So we'll see. I do agree with Kiper's take that if they take him, I think moving him to right tackle would make sense. Leave Braxton at left, not even because Braxton's better. I just think that with Skoronski having shorter arms, I would probably rather move him to the right side. And again, the big question for Chicago and for me is, how do they view him? Do they view him as a tackle? Do they view him as a guard? Do they view him as both, where they try him at tackle first, and if he isn't adequate, they kick him inside? I don't know. You've got Nate Davis, Tevin Jenkins, Cody Whitehair, and Lucas Patrick as interior options. You're much thinner at tackle. I think taking a pure tackle is probably the better bet, but if he's clearly the best player available, I'm certainly not going to argue with it. Would you draft Skoronski at number 9 overall? Would you pull the trigger here? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no when it comes to Skoronski at number 9 overall. Next up in our mock draft, round 2, pick number 53, ESPN's mock, I should say, Mazi Smith, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, who we haven't talked about a ton, but a player I do like. Here's Mel Kiper. He ended up with this selection, too. He actually made the first 3 picks just based on how the alternation worked, and then McShay made the next one. Kiper says, the Bears really have to shore up the trenches in front of quarterback Justin Fields. Smith is one of the strongest players in this class. He won't offer much as an interior pass rusher, but he will plug holes in the run game. And again, you just need dudes on this defensive line. I think you plug him in, he becomes your starting 1 tech. Billings becomes a rotation guy. You could see a Mazi Smith, Andrew Billings kind of 1 tech rotation there. And then you hopefully beef up 3 tech and edge as well in this draft. I think Mazi is the best 1 tech in this class. You got Siaki Ika, you got Jervon Dexter, who might have a higher ceiling, but I think Mazi is just a bruising 1 tech run stopper. Is pretty polished. I think he can plug in and play at a high level right away, free up those linebackers to make tackles, which has been a problem in recent years. You haven't had great defensive tackle production. What is a bigger need for the Bears? Where in the trenches? Offensive or defensive line? Type OL or DL? Curious what you guys think. Hit the subscribe button here on the channel. Trying to get to 65,000 subs before the NFL draft. If you want the latest Bears news, rumors, live streams every week. We'll be live during the NFL draft for all 3 days as well. Well, then go ahead and subscribe. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. We're not going anywhere. We're going to have you covered here on a daily basis. Next up is Derick Hall, as, again, Kiper made this selection. McShay will finally get in the mix here with the next one, the edge out of Auburn. I like Derick Hall. Here's what Mel Kiper had to say. The Bears are devoid of pass rushers. They haven't added many guys this offseason who can get after the quarterback. Hall had 16 sacks over the past 2 seasons. He is a better fit that runs a 3-4 defense, but he could be a situational rusher as a rookie while he puts on more weight to hold up against the run. I actually personally think he's plenty big enough to play in a 4-3. He's not massive, but he's big enough. 60 tackles, 6.5 sacks last year, 2 forced fumbles. He does have good pass rush skills. I think late round 2, early mid-round 3 is a sweet spot for him, so you get him at 61 here. I think that's right in the range for Derick Hall. There's a good kind of lengthy list of guys, I would say, between like 40 and 75 that can really help out this defensive line. And I like Kiper beefing up the trenches here. Even if I like other options more than Skoronski at number 9, a Skoronski, Mazi Smith, Derick Hall trio is pretty solid. Like, I think you're getting improvements in the trenches with those 3 players, so I couldn't really argue that at the end of the day. It's not like an A+ draft for me, but it's a solid B, and you need guys that can contribute. Speaking of you draft nerds out there, I know there's a lot of draft nerds here on Bears Now. Find more NFL draft coverage by checking out our draft-only YouTube channel, youtube.com/chatnfl. More draft rumors, news, mock drafts leading up to the NFL draft. We'll have coverage during the NFL draft as well. Go find it over there, youtube.com/chatnfl. That is the link to our draft-only YouTube channel. Okay, final pick, and I might like this one the best. Cam Smith, a player I interviewed when I was out in Arizona for the Super Bowl, the South Carolina corner. He's been dropping for some reason, and I'm not really sure why. The corner out of South Carolina, here's Kiper on him. This is Todd McShay on Cam Smith. He says, I like what you did with the first 3 Chicago picks, Mel. You hit their top 3 positions of need, so I guess I'll pivot to their 4th cornerback. Cam Smith is a reliable cover guy with great instincts and plenty of versatility. I do think that maybe Cam Smith has dipped a little bit this year because he didn't perform quite as well in 2022 as he did in 2021, but I still like him a lot. He was getting some first-round buzz. He's 6'1". He's only 180 pounds, but he's got length. He's got technique. I think he'd be a steal, personally, at number 64 overall for the Chicago Bears. I wouldn't be surprised if he snuck in early day 2, even in the back end of round 1. So if he's there early 3rd round, I mean, that's unbelievable value. I think he's a day 1 starter as an outside corner. You put him opposite of Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon in the nickel, your secondary is a lot better. And I think getting a corner early-ish in this draft makes a lot of sense. So I actually like this haul by McShay and Kiper. You look at Cam Smith's math bomb here, relative athletic score. A lot of green there. You love green on these little boards. The only thing he's red on, which is not great, is his weight. He's a little thin, but he's long at 6'1". He's got a good vertical. He had a great broad jump. His 40-yard dash was good. 20 and 10-yard splits were good. The athleticism is there. The traits are there. Just needs to be a little bit more consistent, but I like this kid a lot. I think he can be a starter right away in the NFL. So there you go. What's your favorite pick in this 3-round ESPN mock draft? If it's Peter Skoronski, type PS. If it's Mazi Smith, type MS. If it's Derick Hall, type DH. Or if it's Cam Smith, type CS. Favorite pick in this NFL mock draft? Drop his initials in the comments section right there. And be sure to subscribe. Like we mentioned, we're going to continue to keep you guys in the loop with the latest Bears news and rumors, draft coverage. If any free agency stuff pops up at this point, we will have that covered as well. It's youtube.com/Bears Now. Go ahead and subscribe today.